Sir, good afternoon, sir. Venkatrao, sir.
Good afternoon, Sairam.
How are you, sir? Great to see you, sir.
Now, am I visible and audible?
Both, yes, sir. Positive. Thank you for joining and accepting our invitation, sir.
Sir, may I come in? Sir, may I come in?
Professor Ramesh, welcome. We can't see you, sir. I think maybe the video is.
Sir, namaskar, sir. Venkatrao, sir. Namaskar.
Yeah, we can see you now, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Namaste, sir. This is Professor Subbarao.
Namaskar, sir. Subrao, sir.
But video is not allowed by the host. That is why I am not able to.
but just now I was alone. I think they are allowing each one of us one by one. I was in the queue.
Sir, how are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, sir. Thank you, sir. Such a delight and a pleasure to see you here, sir. I hope I will be able to see you the moment they allow us each other.
So you can try now, sir. Subbarao, sir, please.
So it's nice to hear Professor Ramesh's voice.
Namaskar, sir. How are you, sir? Sir? I think we are unable to communicate to Professor Venkatrao.
Sir,
Yep.
can you hear us, sir? Professor Venkatrao, can you hear us? Okay, we have Mallar sir's daughter joining us. Maya Mallar is joining us in a minute. Subbarao, sir, we can see you now. Thank you, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah, we can see you.
It seems Ramesh sir has become a bit old. Huh?
It's a natural aging process, no?
For you, no aging process, sir.
No, how much one is unwilling to, one has to accept the reality, no? Sir, we are seeing Professor Venkatrao, but I don't think he can hear us. Sir, can you hear us, sir? Namaskar, sir. Professor Venkatrao.
No.
I think he'll have to relog in.
Yeah.
Up to?
Yeah. Now I can see his chair.
Dr. Shirish Kulkarni, welcome.
Yeah, I'm not able to get his voice.
So we can hear you now.
Sir, we can hear you, sir. Namaskar, sir.
Yeah, I will log out and log in once again. Okay.
Yes, sir, please.
Yes, sir.
Maya Mallar, if you can hear me, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I know this
No,
is.
thank you. Thank you very much for having us. Thank you.
Now it's clear.
Hello, sir. Dr. Tarun from Central University of Punjab. Greetings to everyone.
Welcome, Dr. Tarun.
Pleasure, sir.
Like Sairam, you can ask Professor Ramesh to speak to me. He was trying to speak something.
Yes, sir. Professor Ramesh, sir, over to you.
Sir, namaskar, sir.
Namaskar. That's right.
How are you, sir? How are you doing, sir?
Sir, can you hear us, sir? Venkatrao, sir, can you hear us?
I think some problem with the audio thing.
Hello.
Sir, we can hear you.
His audio is off. It's muted. So, Prof, sir, how are you keeping, sir?
I'm doing good, sir. As usual, no problem.
Wonderful. Manchadi.
Sir, I think Professor Venkatrao will join. In the meantime, if I have the permission of Professor Subbarao and Professor Ramesh and also Maya Mallar, can we just start the first inaugural proceeding of this Professor V.S. Mallar Memorial Legal Aid Competition? Today is the launch event, and let me invite my colleague Leanne to start the proceedings. Over to Leanne D'Souza. Leanne, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
A very warm welcome to all our guests and participants today on this auspicious occasion. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all our esteemed guests, our esteemed panelists, our participating institutions, my colleagues, friends, and one and all. We are joining each of us together today to commence the launch of Professor V.S. Mallar Memorial Legal Aid Competition 2022, which is an initiative by the Center for Environmental Law, Education, Research and Advocacy, National Law School of India, University, Bangalore, under the aegis of the Department of Justice, Ministry of Law and Justice, Government of India. Before we delve into the proceedings of today's sessions, and to share a few words to commemorate this entire initiative, I would like to take this opportunity to invite our esteemed guests and our esteemed panelists who have joined us today to mark this auspicious occasion. First and foremost, I extend a very warm welcome to our representatives from the Department of Justice, Government of India, Shri Shailesh Srivastava, who is the director, Shri Ashutosh Srivastava, who is the program manager of the Legal Literacy Program, the Department of Justice, Government of India. I extend a very warm welcome to all our guests, our esteemed academicians and scholars who have taken time out of their busy schedules to be with us today. I extend a very warm welcome to Professor Dr. Venkatrao, Professor Dr. M.K. Ramesh, Professor T.V. Subbarao, and all other esteemed jury members, Professor Dr. M.R.K. Prasad, Professor Yogesh Pratap Singh, Professor Anirban Chakraborty, and our coordinators in this entire initiative, Dr. Gigi Mon, Dr. Sachin Tripathi, Dr. Bishwa Kalyan Das, Dr. Anjali Tanvi, Dr. Uma Ramu Sandhya, Dr. Satyadeep Singh, and Mr. Vivek Shukla. I would also like to take this opportunity at this gracious moment to extend a very warm welcome and to extend our sincere gratitude to Ms. Maya Mallar, who is joining here on behalf of her entire family. A very warm welcome on behalf of my entire team and the coordinator of the Center for Environmental Law, Professor Dr. Sairam Bhatt.
Thank you.
Thank you so much thank you so much to all of you for joining us here today. And before I invite our speakers, I would like to share a few words on why we have decided to dedicate this entire initiative of the Pan-India Legal Literacy and Legal Awareness Program specifically in context of this competition in memory of one of our beloved professors. For all the participants who have joined us today, the words of Andy Warhol, I think, resonate with the legacy that Professor Mallar has laid down, not only for the National Law School, but for the legal fraternity. His words go as this, that the idea is not to live forever, but to create something that will. And as we celebrate 5 long and assiduous decades of Professor V.S. Mallar, whom we lost last year, of his fervent service to legal academia, to constitutional law, and other knowledge dissemination, there is no other better occasion than the present one to cherish and reflect on his life and indelible legacy. For those of you who did not have the privilege to meet him in person, and I can vouch for all our esteemed guests who had the privilege to do so working alongside him, Professor V.S. Mallar was only remembered for one too many admirable traits: his intellectual prowess, his impromptu sense of humor, his inimitable and infectious laugh, and above all, his humility. And this was greatly reflected in his passion for teaching constitutional law, which is why, as a Center for Environmental Law, in association with the Department of Justice, we thought this to be the best opportunity to do justice to the legacy that this great legal luminary has shared and created for the entire fraternity. As we move forward with this competition launch, I would like to share a few words regarding the initiative of the Department of Justice to go right to the grassroots levels in spreading legal literacy and legal awareness. The Department of Justice, Government of India, has formulated the Pan-India Legal Literacy and Legal Awareness Program as a 5-year initiative to form a coherent scheme on access to justice under the larger initiative titled Designing Innovative Solutions and Holistic Access to Justice. Under this, the department has tirelessly worked towards conceptualizing the entire scheme to redefine policy frameworks and vision documents towards spreading legal literacy. Joining together with my esteemed colleagues, my esteemed friends, and all the participating universities today, this is a platform for us to not only do justice to the legacy of one of the legal luminaries of the National Law School, but also to do justice to the entire vision and action plan of the Department of Justice, Government of India. Before I invite our speakers to share a few thoughts, I'd like to take this opportunity to invite Professor Dr. Sairam Bhatt to officially share a few words regarding the program.
Thank you, Leanne. Respected invitees, panelists, participants, Maya Mallar, who is representing Madam Shanti Mallar and the family of Professor V.S. Mallar, my colleagues in CEERA, my colleagues in the legal academia, a lot of friends who have joined here, a lot of them that we know from our different programs and initiatives that we have done at CEERA-NLSIU. A warm welcome to all of you. First of all, let me thank all of you for joining us today, not only for the event, but also to celebrate the life of Professor V.S. Mallar, to take forward the initiative of the Department of Justice, and most importantly, friends, I think to achieve the purpose of lawyers being social engineers. And I think legal aid is one of those initiatives that drives us with that kind of a purpose. Friends, I must also thank for the overwhelming response that we have received for this competition. Right now on your screen, you see 45 teams. We have received requests from other teams. Unfortunately, they were not able to make the payment yesterday, which happens to be the last day. There was some payment issues. So we are expecting these numbers to go up. So we may reach probably the half-century mark with the teams that are showing interest in this competition. So I must thank all the institutions for showing interest in this very unique competition, probably designed for the very first time by CEERA-NLSIU. Friends, I think legal aid is something that is probably something we must work towards to revive, probably to re-establish, to restructure and to re-strategize. I remember legal aid as being a very critical component of legal education at one point of time. But I think somewhere we felt that this initiative is slowly dying in law schools, and there is a requirement to revive it, to give it a new impetus, to give it a new a platform to get into some pan-India activity. And that is the reason we designed this competition. We had the support of the Department of Justice, which has granted a 2-year project to CEERA-NLSIU to look at legal dissemination of legal material, legal awareness, legal literacy. So we thought this would be the right competition to have, because what we were looking at, friends, is that we were looking at foot soldiers to do legal literacy and legal awareness across India. And our idea is, if we have 45 teams who have registered for legal aid competition, each team will have 10 team members or 10 faculty and students. That clearly gives us a range of around 450 legal aid volunteers across India. And these 450 legal aid volunteers would probably campaign at villages, hold public hearings, probably take part in dissemination of legal material in schools in those villages, involved in sensitization purposes that are required. And I think we thought this is the right method in which we can actually put things together. Friends, I think this is the first year in which this competition is launched. From the response that we have received, probably we will take it forward even in the coming years as well. On how, because that is what the Department of Justice actually asked us in a meeting last week. So we have been very positive in our approach towards this event. So just to say that it's not a one-off event, I think we want to have the continuity of the same so that legal aid can be brought to the forefront of legal education. At the same time, I think it's very important at this point of time to also state that legal institutions must also work with the district and state legal services authorities so that there can be coordination between the judiciary as well as the legal education institutions so that we can actually look at legal aid being more meaningful and more purpose oriented. I must thank Professor Venkatrao, Professor Ramesh and Professor Subbarao. When I contacted them to support us in this event, for two reasons. I'm sure they did say yes at the very outset. One, because of their very close association with Professor V.S. Mallar, and of course, their continued patronage to CEERA-NLSIU. So they're here to share their insights on the life of Professor V.S. Mallar and also to motivate us to look at legal aid from a revived and reorientation perspective. I thank Shanti Mallar ma'am. She has graciously agreed to allow us name this competition on Professor V.S. Mallar. The two daughters, though they are abroad and this is a very odd time, Maya Mallar is with us. So we are indeed grateful to the family for allowing us to take Professor Mallar's legacy and to continue to keep that legacy with us, especially in terms of the kind of legal education impact that we have created in each one of our lives. So I think all of us can share those moments, but I think it's very apt to the fact that Professor V.S. Mallar always believed in pro bono work. From the time that I knew Professor V.S. Mallar, he was never behind honorarium, the money, and he would always motivate and encourage not only his students, but also his colleagues to get into pro bono lawyering and pro bono work. And I think legal aid only stands out for that. I still remember the kind of advice I and Professor Ramesh would receive very often on tax saving. He would always come and show us all those clips about how you could save tax. And he would say that it is not only for you both, but you must actually circulate it so that everyone else can actually know how to save tax. Just to give you an instance about what Professor Mallar believed in terms of dissemination of knowledge, dissemination of legal information, and how important it is to equip every Indian citizen with legal education. So let me thank each one of you. Let me thank my jury members as well, Prasad, Yogesh, and Anirban. They are here to guide us. They are here to evaluate the teams. We have a very neutral judges panel. Though their colleges are taking part, they have given a declaration of no conflict. So I hope this competition will be a very nationally successful, but more legal aid oriented kind of competition. And I hope we can reach out with the purpose and the object this competition has set forth to achieve. So with this, let me hand it over to Leanne. Bye.
Thank you, sir, for setting the stage for this competition and for giving our participants and our esteemed guests an entire idea of why we have undertaken this initiative. Without further ado, I would take this opportunity to invite our representative from the Department of Justice, Shri Ashutosh Srivastava, to share a few words on what the ministry and the government has envisioned in bringing legal literacy and legal awareness to the grassroots level. Sir, I invite you to share a few words of the ministry's plan and what the entire Disha scheme is all about.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Professor Bhatt, all the dignitaries, I noticed Professor Prasad is also there, and Professor Anirban is also there, and all other faculty members, participants. Warm welcome from Department of Justice for this unique event. And Disha scheme was launched in April 2021. Basically, there are 4 programs. One is tele-law program, where basic focus is to provide facilitation for legal advice. Nyaya Bandhu program is to have a kind of pro bono culture in our country, where lawyers are proactively taking up cases for uh, for people those are not economically or in other way they are not empowered to handle their cases. Third is Nyaya Mitra program, where retired judicial officer is facilitating local judiciary. Fourth is legal literacy, legal awareness program. I'm closely associated with this program, and basically this program, legal literacy and legal awareness program, is mother of all programs. In 2009, it with UNDP's support, uh, Access to Justice project was initiated in 8 states. And the idea was, let us try and test some pilot projects in some parts of our country. And if those pilot projects are successful, if they are considered replicable, doable, and with the funding of, with the support of government, let us upscale them on pan-India level. So in 2012, first phase was over, and based on that, Ministry of Law and Justice, Department of Justice launched NEJK project, Access to Justice NEJK project, and with their own financial support, and it was started in northeastern state and J&K. And from 2017, we see 3 more programs added in this. Now we have a dedicated division, Access to Justice division, in the Department of Justice. Why there is a significant focus on legal literacy and legal awareness. I often do a comparison between health system and justice delivery system. And if I need a services of a compounder, that person is easily available, and there's no doubt in the minds of compounder what kind of services he or she can provide. And if I approach a doctor is also clear. There's no conflict between doctor and compounder. Similarly, for social diseases, to cure social diseases, there are lawyers available around, and we know lawyers, their support is available. But I feel there's a gap. It's a gap between community and lawyers, community and courts. So that gap is, and there are people getting benefited from these gaps. So our effort is how to bridge this gap, how to create what Professor Bhatt has said. With this initiative, we are going to get 450 volunteers. So we need a huge workforce to facilitate our communities. Whatever we are discussing, where this initiative is taking us, ultimately we are trying to enrich our community, our villagers, so that their access is strong, their belief is strong in justice delivery system. So this is the idea, and so many agencies are helping us, and let us collectively reach to our marginalized and disadvantaged section. With these words, I stop here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for joining us at this occasion, and thank you for sharing with our participants how they are being instruments in the ministry's effort in legal literacy and legal awareness. At this juncture, I would like to take this opportunity to have and invite Ms. Maya Mallar share a few thoughts on how Professor Mallar was one of the luminaries and instrumentalities in really bringing forth law and legal education to the masses. We are privileged enough to have her join us here despite different time zones. So I'd just like to invite her for about 5 to 10 minutes to share a few words.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here. Basically, just want to say apologies. My mother can't be here today because she is actually in a flight, and she sent her apologies. We are so moved that this is being done in Bappa's memory, and we're very grateful. I can only see his beaming smile. He would be so proud that this is being done, and it will help many people. It involves so many students and all his dear friends who are the panelists. It's been really nice to see all of them and know that although he's not here, his legacy continues. So I'm not a great orator like him or most of you lawyers are, but I can only say thank you so much because you're keeping his memory alive. And I'm sure wherever he is, he's very, very happy. So thank you all, and thank you for all the good work you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today. I think having you present here on behalf of your entire family is giving us all the more motivation and encouragement to keep on going, to keep on thriving, and keep on doing justice in context of really bringing law to the masses. So thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you.
At this juncture, without further ado, I would like to invite our esteemed panelists who have worked alongside Professor V.S. Mallar to share a few words as legal academicians, as legal scholars, as legal luminaries, to share insights not only in terms of their experiences of how this entire initiative will bring forth Professor V.S. Mallar's dedication to the entire legal fraternity, but also some insights on their experiences having worked alongside him. First and foremost, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Venkat Rao to share a few words on this occasion. Sir, very warm welcome to you.
Are the light and sound both effective, Sairam? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's good. Because I always wait for a green signal from Dr. Sairam, but okay. Now, this is a momentous afternoon for me. Ashutosh Srivastavaji, Shanti Mallar Madam, and Maya Mallar, my esteemed senior colleague, Professor Ramesh, Professor Subbarao, well, of course, always the captain, Professor Sairam Bhatt, and fellow eloquent spokespersons for the cause of legal aid, I would say, young friends. I'm not a guest of honor for today. It's an honor for me, in fact. My grateful thanks to the organizers for honoring me by associating me with this momentous afternoon. Momentous because today is a very auspicious day. Jagannath Rath Yatra in my state, Orissa, where the wheels of the chariot start moving. And the British would say, like the Juggernaut. And may I pray Lord Jagannath to bless us all to keep the wheels of Professor Mallar Memorial Legal Aid Competition moving like the Juggernaut, and a happy launch this afternoon. Well, friends, certain aspects of Professor Mallar must be made known to the younger generation. Professor Sairam Bhatt was referring to pro bono lawyering, which was very close to Mallar's heart. I will go a step further. Professor Mallar used to say, pro bono teaching is the first step to pro bono lawyering. He never took into consideration the monetary benefit that he would be getting from teaching. Professor Menon is reputed to have brought about a paradigm shift in legal education by starting an institution with the first generation of chosen few, 7 or 8 dedicated souls working in a shed without a rooftop over their heads, sharing their difficulties under the greenwood tree. But Menon could not have accomplished anything without the sacrifices made by this first generation of teachers. And Professor Mallar is the prominent among them. 3 things I would like to place before you, my young friends. Today, National Law School of India University Library boasts that it is a better library than even Oxford University Library. No exaggeration in that. But there was a time when the library was starving for books. And Professor Mallar took the initiative to make an appeal to his colleagues to sacrifice their arrears so that they can purchase books for Subrata Roy Chaudhary Library, as it was then called. And that the nurturing and nourishing of the library began with the munificence of the 7 teachers led by Professor Mallar. Now that is the institutional man that Professor Mallar was. The second one was when Professor Madhav Menon was desperately making an appeal to colleagues to go back to their respective places who have come on leave because it was difficult for them to pay salaries. Mallar took the initiative to make an appeal to K.K. Venugopal. They went to Delhi and K.K. Venugopal gave a check for the payment of salaries, and the rest is history. That was Mallar. The third incident I'll tell you, which has some bearing with legal aid today, there was an extraordinary elderly person by name D.K. Sampath. Professor Ramesh must be knowing. He was the father of legal aid, clinical legal education movement in National Law School of India University. Professor Madhav Menon, D.K. Sampath, Professor Mallar, these were the architects of legal aid. And when D.K. Sampath was in the last phase of his life, Professor Mallar came to me and said, "Sir, we should all go to Chennai to pay our respects to D.K. Sampath." And we took a car, went all the way to Chennai, and D.K. Sampath blessed us, the last phase of his life. And that D.K. Sampath, along with Professor Madhav Menon and David Onuswamy, they came together with the unseen and unknown help of Professor Mallar. Sairam, but helped Professor Madhav Menon in that endeavor, I know it very well, to come out with a book on clinical legal education, which was published by National Law School of India University. Now, this was the silent work, because Mallar was one human being who never craved for any recognition, who always used to say, "Let me be true to my conscience." And in a typical Mallarism, he uses the words very rhythmically, logically, and astrologically like that. Once, he said, "Venkatrao, don't you think one more Mallarism I would adopt, saying that docket exclusion is more dangerous than docket explosion." How beautifully he had put it. And later the word had been adopted even by Supreme Court judges. Docket explosion is bad, but docket exclusion is worse. And he used to say, in India, poor are poor, not because they have no money, but they have lack of access to institutions. So when they have access to institutions, some needy students in National Law School of India University also, without clamoring for publicity, I know, he never used to say, "Please don't tell anyone that I have helped them, but pay this on their behalf." Till today, I have not shared this experience with anyone. And that was Mallar. And today, it is very thoughtful on the part of CEERA, under the leadership of Professor Ramesh and Sairam Bhatt, and the Department of Justice, Ministry of Law and Justice, Government of India, under the Pan-India Legal Literacy and Legal Awareness Program, to conduct this legal aid competition 2022, which is taking its launch on Jagannath Rathayatra Day and which will be coming to a close on a day which is very close to every Indian, the Constitution Day, 26th November, so that justice, social, economic, and political would become a reality. May I congratulate the organizers for having launched this wonderful initiative, and may I humbly submit before them, I would be at your beck and call in this noble cause. Thank you very much for this, and I wish the launch all success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your overwhelming support and your continuous cooperation and patronage. I think your words of encouragement and motivation is all we need to really boost all our participants and boost all my team members to take this forward. Thank you so much, sir. I would now like to invite our next esteemed invited guest, Professor T.V. Subbarao, to share a few words on this occasion. Sir, over to you.
Thank you very much. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, sir.
Friends, at the outset, let me thank the charities of this program who have given me this opportunity with specific reference to Professor Sairam Bhatt. He knows how close we were, Professor and myself. We were going to the class for cooperative teaching, and we were taking lunch together nearly for a decade. We know each other very well. So for giving this opportunity to me, I shall thank Sairam Bhatt, and I shall also thank Shanti Mallar and Maya Mallar for associating themselves with this very good cause, and also Sri Ashutosh Srivatsava representing Ministry of Justice. My contribution, whatever I speak, 50% of it will go to Professor Mallar only, that credit. In 2016, myself and Professor Mallar, we were talking together very briefly, of course. If myself and Professor Mallar will go to the class, it will be more than 2 hours. It is not like that. Very briefly in a meeting, I think it was conducted by Professor Madhav Menon, we spoke very briefly on legal aid. So whatever I speak here, 50% credit goes to Professor Mallar. Legal aid means providing an arrangement in the society which makes the machinery of administration of justice easily accessible and in reach of those who have to resort to it for enforcement of rights given to them by law. Are we successful in this regard is the question. Legal aid has to be extended during pre-litigation stage, counseling and creating awareness. During litigation, effective legal assistance has to be provided. Effective. You cannot equate an ordinary lawyer with a lawyer having wide experience. So in order, we shall see that effective assistance extended during litigation.
Not too bad. I need to.
After litigation, with regard to execution, many things, even though they win the cases, They will not see the execution. And then awareness programs about ADR, model of dispute resolution. 12 years ago, when we started our tryst with destiny, setting our constitutional goal values, justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity, they are not merely the slogans or rhythmic rhetoric. They are the words of passion and power. But what has happened subsequently after the adoption of the Constitution? Justice has become factually unapproachable. This is the expression used by Professor Mallar, my dear friends. And intellectually left inarticulate and vague. Millions of Indians neither made the law, nor know the law, nor they reach the law. This is a fact. Law as a delivery agent of justice is in the hands of limited group of people, leaving the taming millions with poverty unlimited. Justice system is terribly cumbersome, expensively dilatory, and cumulatively disastrous. Legal illiteracy and over-lawyering makes justice a flop. Access to justice, my friends, is stunted and chained. It is a reality, and we should rather congratulate the initiatives taken. Disha has several aspects, but they have taken into account this particular angle as well. For that, they must be congratulated. Processual justice in India suffers primarily, my friends, with heavy court fee, which is a ticket to buy justice. That is unfortunate. And participatory justice is the prerogative notion of elitist groups. Still, we suffer from colonial hangover, no doubt whatsoever. We may remove 1,200 and odd irrelevant legislations, but still we work under non-Indian laws. May not be anti-Indian, but they are non-Indian, adopted for different circumstances. We have adopted here. So that colonial hangover has to be removed. Even ADR, we say, ADR gives you some justice, not whole justice. It is also brought from outside, not our old system. It is meant only to minimize the maximum loss. And it depends on dyadic, parties bargaining directly. Law and justice have become mystic words of lawyers and judges. Legal aid is meant to neutralize it. My friends, etymologically, justice means awarding what is due. Quality of being just. It is not governmental charity, but it is a basic human right. Any right without remedial justice is a hoax and husk without grain. Justice must be just. That one should understand. Now, a specific point for this context. I will not take much time. As per our norm, it will go for 1.5 hours. That is not the thing. When you are saying that justice, the expression justice, it is an aspect that what we are doing, creating legal awareness. 4 things are primary things for assuring the justice. Number 1, availability. whether justice is available or not. On paper, you made it available. In practice, the second one is accessibility. Accessibility is physical accessibility, economic accessibility, and informative accessibility. Now your concentration is rather surrounding informative accessibility. The third thing is that acceptability. Not forcing because of the dilatory tactics in the courts, forcing them to enter into a compromise in Lok Adalas and other things. Acceptable solution should be there. And ultimately, there should be quality assurance. The concept of seeking justice cannot be equated with the value of rupees, my friends. Money plays no role in seeking the justice. One should understand, if you want to realize the objectives that are made succinctly clear in the preamble of the Indian Constitution, Article 38 of the Indian Constitution, Article 39A of the Indian Constitution, what is required is the real effort. Once again, I congratulate the charioteers of this program and the government for supporting it, and it should rather grow further is my theme. I remember every day Professor Mallar. If I go to classroom means I remember Professor Mallar. If I take up reading the cases, what he was telling about N.A. Subramanya, I will be remembering. Every moment of my teaching life, I will be remembering Professor Mallar. I think always that he is with me. Whenever I speak about Professor Mallar, I will become a bit emotional. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Namaste.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for steering this entire launch with so much gusto, so much motivation, and this much enthusiasm. I think if we have anything to take away with us in this entire endeavor, it is
even
this
the
kind
voice
of,
is from Professor Mallar. Loud
yes,
voice.
it is this kind of motivation that is coming from your experience having worked alongside him. So thank you so much, sir, for continuing this and being a part of our journey. Thank you for joining us today, sir. Last but not the least, I would like to take this opportunity to invite Professor M.K. Ramesh. He is not only the pioneer of the Center for Environmental Law, but has been our confidant and our continuous pillar of support in all our endeavors. So I think this is a very momentous occasion to have him share his thoughts, not only as the founder of CEERA, but also as a colleague of our beloved Professor V.S. Mallar. So without further ado, I invite you to share a few words at this occasion.
Thank you, Liam. Shri Ashutosh Ji, representing the Department of Justice, Ministry of Law and Justice, Government of India. Our esteemed former Vice Chancellor who determined the destiny and guided our destiny for well over a decade, R. Venkatrao Ji. My senior colleague and one of those inspirations for teachers like me, and who has been a very close, I envy him for having been that close with Professor Mallar, getting into the classroom every day, Professor Subbarao. My colleague, Professor Sairam Bhatt, and the entire team of CEERA, the other panelists and the participants of this momentous moment as has been conveyed to us by Professor Venkatrao. Definitely not to forget our dear Maya, who has been our alumni as well. And so I take the liberty of saying, dear Maya, it's our privilege to have you here and representing not only you, but Madam Shanti and the entire family as part of this noble venture that CEERA has gotten into, Professor V.S. Memorial Legal Aid Competition 2022. Plenty to talk about Professor Mallar. Having known him, having worked with him, having been guided by him for well over 30 long years, as I knew him, Professor Mallar is the epitome of somebody who would go out of his way to help, enable, empower those who needed legal literacy. It's not just those who approached him for help, but even those who needed that, but did not know how to go about it, either were confused or uncertain about seeking help. He approached these very people and offered help whenever he was in town, whichever town he was in. And I happened to be with him on a few such occasions in different places in India. I recall a few instances when he would turn around and ask one of us whether there is any law college nearby, and we would certainly search for it and contact the principal, and immediately Professor Mallar would offer his services as a teacher, offering his services pro bono, lecturing for hours together without expecting anything in return. Legal aid starts with his legal literacy, as very aptly mentioned by Professor Venkatrao. Mallar epitomized this all throughout his career. He practiced it and he just did not preach. And I can go on speaking about a number of anecdotal things about it, but I think this entire event is indeed a celebration of what Professor Mallar stood for. And it's very apt that when we are celebrating the silver jubilee year of the starting of CEERA. CEERA was started in 1997, and we are in the silver jubilee year of that. We have this particular event coming up. Disha, designing innovative solutions for holistic access to justice, is indeed expected to show the Disha, the direction to enable, empower, facilitate, and to ensure those who are disempowered to access and secure justice. Disha is not just about showing and following the trodden path, like awareness campaigns, legal literacy exercises, counseling, mediation, preparing briefs, that we as law schools and law teaching institutions have been engaged in day in and out, and we have been doing that all the while. We'll continue to do that. But this is indeed an effort in exploring alternative, newer strategies and avenues, anything that is novel, either existing but not patent, or evolving newer, better ones, so that seeking, accessing, and securing justice will not be difficult. Let it be said here that in terms of offering legal aid and services of the kind that we are looking for, has been done many times over than in the esteemed, renowned law schools of India, by people outside the law schools. I can just refer to one instance of somebody by the name Rabindranath Shanbha, a doctor by profession, who was able to settle over 10,000 legal aid issues without approaching the court of law at all, outside the court. And we have plenty of such instances in India. And I must say that no bar association, no law teaching institution can rival this accomplishment. And it's time now, law institutions, law teaching institutions caught up with this, something which is an inherent duty of law teaching institutions to inculcate in the young budding lawyers to get into this legal aid. And I'm very heartened to find that nearly 50 institutions are going to be with us in this exercise. Although I do see that some of the famed law schools are a little bit of a late starter in this exercise. Hope they will also catch up and they will join in that. Now, what are those innovations that we can think of? Just look around. There are plenty of such inspirations that we get. Think of innovative use of technology, experiences from elsewhere that we can draw from. Look at the Law Commission reports, proposals for amending, nay, reforming the Advocates Act. There is one such report. The study having been carried under the guidance of Professor Upendra Bakshi. It can give us ideas as to how this barefoot lawyering can do wonders in securing justice and reduce the bulk of the docket explosion that we have. See the Gram Nyayalaya Act. Any clues for innovation you get from that? Please have a look at that. Something which was made more than a decade back, 2008, 2009 vintage. People have forgotten about it, but this is an act of the government of India. And except for a couple of states which have actually thought of putting it in practice in their respective states, it has never ever seen the light of the day. Please draw inspiration from that to really come up with your ideas as to how this legal aid could be far more meaningful than what it is now. Examine something that was there in 1930 called the One Panchayat Act. In the erstwhile United Province and now Uttar Pradesh, actually in the Uttarakhand region, we get some new ideas that were very much there in the law, which did find expression with regard to certain ecosystems, but can be expanded, the scope and the space for which can be put to application so as to provide the legal aid for those who are in need of it. The poor, the indigent, who could not access justice and things like that. Anything any other legal system has done that we can really adopt or internalize, maybe another inspiration that you can look forward to and try to bring it into our learning. Anything to draw from our own traditions. Please think of the idea of Nyaya Panchayats. In fact, the entire idea of Panchayats started with the idea of Nyaya Panchayat. That is workable now. We can definitely do some work on that. You know that interpretation of statutes that we study in the law schools are essentially something which we got from the Anglo-Saxon system. But can we really think of those innovative ways of interpreting and applying the laws that are in currency now from our traditional systems? Narada Smriti is full of that. Full of Nyaya, Tarka, reasoning that can astound the current masters of the art of courtcraft. And if you really need inspiration, please refer to that celebrated work of Rama Joyce. In fact, we have made it part of the study. I distinctly remember 2 decades back when I was teaching my final year students in LLB. In addition to those wonderful Western scholars' work on interpretation of statutes and interpretation of the Constitution, including Reed Dickerson, I used to recommend this book and we used to elaborately discuss this by Rama Joyce. That has actually put quite a bit of the traditional wisdom into this craft of learning law, applying law, and rendering justice. Can you make use of that? Can there be an effort in exploring the scope for innovation, experimentation, and opening up of new vistas in specific areas of law? Consumer law, plenty of opportunities, family law, land and property relations, environmental laws, gender justice. You think of it, in each of these specific areas, there are so many avenues available. You just need to discover them, recover them, and then put it in place as a proposal for consideration and future use. Let it be known that when we find that people outside law school situations have been able to render a lot of legal aid, much more than law school and law teaching institutions have done, I think this is one avenue that has been kept open for you now. Please make best use of it so that the law schools would serve the purpose for which they're meant for, not just preparing a lawyer for the profession, which of course they will do, but at the same time, even at that very early stage, inculcate in those values of rendering justice by accessing justice and securing it for the common man, the one who needs it most. I'm very happy to be in this panel, to be a part of this particular exercise. And all throughout, I will be with the rest of the CEERA team to really learn with a lot of curiosity, to learn about the new innovations that each and every team would be able to bring it. All the best to each and every team that's participating in it. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you, Professor Ramesh. Thank you so much for reinvigorating the entire, as you put it, our inherent duty as legal institutions, legal academic institutions, to really reach out to the masses. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing these words of encouragement and for really bringing to fore the importance of lawyers, legal students, legal academicians to really bring law to the masses. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we move into the next segment, into briefing, into inviting our jury members to brief the participants, I would like to take this opportunity once again to thank all our esteemed panelists who joined us today for the inaugural session. Thank you so much. Despite your busy schedules, you have joined us on this momentous occasion. I once again extend my sincere gratitude on behalf of Professor Dr. Sairam Bhatt and the entire CEERA team to Shri Ashutosh Srivastava, Ms. Maya Mallar, Professor Venkatrao, Professor Subbarao, and Professor M.K. Ramesh. Thank you so much for joining us today. I think this entire launch would not be possible without really laying the groundwork for the legacy that Professor Mallar has established. Thank you so much. I would like to.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Go, kindly permit us to leave. Okay. Thank
yes,
you.
sir. Sure. I'll just take this opportunity, if Ashutosh ji is still with us, to introduce and welcome our other colleagues. Ashutosh ji knows Prasad sir, he may know Anirban sir, but we have Professor Yogesh Pratap Singh who has joined us. Yogesh is the Registrar of National Law University, Odisha. He is also one of the jury members. We have our faculty colleagues, Dr. Binu Mol, Professor Uma Sandhya, Professor Sachin Tripathi, Professor Divyanshu, Advocate Vivek Shukla, and Professor Anjali Tanvi, who is our partnering from our partnering institution, NLU Youth Group. We have other faculty colleagues who have also joined us. I think Dr. Tarun Arora was there from the Central University, and I think some of our friends, if I missed out, I'll definitely come back and acknowledge your presence here today. So just to say, I think it's a pan-India kind of representation that we have from legal scholars, lawyers, and law students as well. So let me welcome all of you to this conclave, the first launch event for the V.S. Mallar Memorial Legal Aid Competition. Yeah.
I too welcome all of them on behalf of Department of Justice. Most welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Let me take this opportunity to invite our jury members. We have Professor Dr. M.R.K. Prasad, Dr. Anirban Chakraborty, and Dr. Yogesh Pratap Singh. Thank you so much for joining us today. But before I invite them to share a few words on what they are looking forward to as panelists, as jury members and evaluators of this entire competition, let me just share a few words with our participating institutions to really understand the kind of experts who will be sharing their expertise and who will be assisting us and joining us in this entire endeavor. First and foremost, we have Professor Dr. M.R.K. Prasad. For all the participating institutions who have joined us, he is a leading expert in clinical legal education in India, and he's the first recipient of the Vanderbilt Fulbright Scholarship in Clinical Legal Education. And over the course of his career, he has served as a chairman of moot court societies, legal aid societies, ADR boards, and he was also the principal of VM Salgaonkar College of Law, Panjim, 2015. Professor M.R.K. Prasad has been a legal luminary in spreading clinical legal education. He used to head the Legal Aid Society at VM Salgaonkar College of Law. And Professor M.R.K. Prasad, what he brings to this table is his experience as an academician, as a legal stalwart in clinical legal education. So I'm sure that in his evaluation, in his experiences and in his contributions during the course of this entire program, there will be a lot to contribute over the from his experiences over the decades of his work as a clinical legal educator. So I'd like to invite you at this moment to share a few words for about 10 minutes regarding the competition.
Thank you, Lian, and thank you to CEERA and National Law School of India University for making me part of jury member. I hope I'm audible. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Before I could start anything, first let me pay my homage to Professor V.S. Mallar. My association with Professor Mallar started in 1998 when we started an LLM program in Salgaonkar Law College. As Professor Venkatrao sir has already explained, he is the best example of pro bono teaching. So he used to come all the way from Bangalore to Goa in a bus journey. It was such a tedious journey to just launch the LLM program. And I used to attend his classes in Constitution after 2 years to take over Constitution for the LLM students. And my long association with Mallar, I learned a lot of things. I used to wonder, after 20-25 years of completing the students, he used to remember each and every student's name. And he used to tell me, where, of course, he was in Goa for a few years. He used to tell me so-and-so place, so-and-so hotel, he is so-and-so, and we go there. Exactly, he remembers everything. And he was instrumental in getting me the Fulbright Scholarship in Clinical Legal Education. He is one of the reference he has given me to go to Vanderbilt University in 2004, from where I have learned a lot on clinical legal education. So I feel privileged that I am being part of Mallar's legacy that is going to continue in National Law School. Now, just to share my round of thoughts, the legal aid is a part of clinical legal education. Now, clinical legal education is an umbrella under which legal aid becomes a part. Now, I look clinical legal education into 4 aspects. The first one, clinical legal education as a pedagogy. That means it's a teaching method, how you effectively teach the law in the law schools, apart from using just a lecture method. Second thing is that clinical legal education is also have a component of skill training, because ultimately being a lawyer, you are supposed to perform what you learn in the law school. Therefore, the second aspect of clinical legal education is how do we inculcate these skills to the young lawyers they are entering into the profession. The third one is clinical legal education as an experiential learning. That means through clinical methods, students learn by experience. And the last one is the clinical legal education for community engagement. Now, I cannot take legal aid away from all these 4 aspects. The 4 aspects are, we would say, very entwined into the legal aid program. Now, why I say that is, if you look at the learning pyramid, You can just Google it in web. One of the best method of retaining is learning by doing. If you learn by doing, 75% of what you did, you will remember. Whereas if you attend a class in constitutional law, for example, for an hour if I teach, what you retain is only 5%. If the same thing, if I take you to a place where you have the experience of legal aid, you learn by 75%. Okay. So what law schools mostly does to the law students, the moment you join in the law college, whether it is US or India, whether it is a national law school, whether it is a government law college or a private law college, they ask you to think like a lawyer, right? So this is what we always say, how a lawyer would think, how a lawyer would respond, how a lawyer would argue in the. But one thing that we always forget is, in the process of thinking like a lawyer, you become smart but useless most of the time. I mean useless in the sense that you are not socially responsible, you are not socially relevant. However smart you are, if you are not socially relevant, then it's no use for the legal education to train. So therefore, the activity that you are going to undertake under this competition is that we are trying to make you socially relevant and professionally competent. So these are the two goals. By doing this activity, you know how to professionally represent somebody, that is competently, and at the same time you are still relevant to the society. So the first question comes into our picture is, why competition? Look at the, I would take more on moot court. When I am a young teacher, maybe in 93, I started teaching. In 94, I took one team to Kerala Law Academy for my first moot court experience. The whole atmosphere is not that who won and who lost. The whole atmosphere is how much we have learned from each other. And the students, after their presentations are over, go to other persons, watch them. Some of them eagerly go to some of the national law school. At that time, only one national law school, Bangalore, where they would be checking their memorials and comparing with their memorials and see whether national law school has done anything different from there. And go to talk to the judges where they went wrong, etc. But the same moot court, if it happens today, you just go, you make your presentation, you get out. You would see only for whether you win or when you lose it. That means that the learning curve is missing in the moot court competitions. So therefore, when the question comes, when why we are conducting this legal aid competition, but if you look at the whole pattern of the legal aid competition holistically, if you look, they are not worried about who is going to win and who is going to lose. It was designed in such a manner that if there are 45 law schools are participating, so we are going to have at least 450 students who are sensitized towards legal aid. And we are anticipating, irrespective of what comes outcome, that these 45 law schools at least continue, if they have a legal aid cell, in a better manner, or if they don't have, they would start one. That's the idea. So this, over a period of time, it would spill over. So this essentially we are expecting to be a small step towards a bigger goal, that the legal aid should be a meaningful activity in law schools. So therefore, I expect, at least as a jury member, that all will be the winners in this competition, and you continue your legal aid activities in your college after what participation you have completed. To motivate you, I would say, because we always have this habit of saying that we cannot do legal aid because I am not allowed to practice. Teachers would say we are not allowed to practice, bar council restricts, etc. But if you actually look into those 3 wonderful reports that happened in the 70s and early 80s, the Justice Bhagavati and Justice Krishna Iyer's reports, they identified 7 components of legal aid. Out of that, the first one is the legal representation, which you think that you cannot. But I still suggest that you can represent the client in consumer forums, RTI commissions, etc. May not be in a civil court. Then there is a legal advice, legal literacy, paralegal services, public interest litigations, law reforms, promoting ADR culture. So these are parts of legal aid. Therefore, maybe a legal representation you think that the law school may not be able to do, but there are 6 other components which you could do. So therefore, this competition exactly testing those things. Apart from legal representation, they are testing many other skills that you could. And another important thing I want to impress on all of you is, unlike moot court, where you have a structural framework, you cannot go out, because we say that don't invent new facts, stick on to that fact, and facts are supposed to be proved whatever given in the moot court problem. But the legal aid is an innovative approach. There is no restriction what kind of activity you want to do. And there is no proper template that you should follow this. National Law School will have one, maybe my college will have in another way, a private university will have another method of providing legal aid. So therefore, as a legal aid society or a legal aid clinic, which local needs that you are going to cater? That means which is the area that you are going to cater? What is the needs of that local? That is what you should be the focus of your legal aid. And I just give you a few examples of what happened in our college. Of course, apart from the regular legal aid clinics that we run about 25 community-based legal aid clinics, plus there are about 4 specialized clinics in the campus. During the pandemic, we are not allowed to go out because of the so many restrictions and all. See, one of the challenge was when the government has introduced the vaccine for the people. You know that our entire vaccination drive was digitally managed. You have to register in COVID app. Without that, you won't get the slot, etc. There are many people who are digitally illiterate. In Goa, of course, there's the same in most of the states. So because we have some presence in panchayats and other areas, some of the sarpanches called few of our students, asking them to help them to register the locals in the COVID app. So the students use their own personal mobiles to register. And now you know that more and more digitalization is happening in the government services. The reason is that, of course, the accessibility and reducing the corruption, etc. How come the law schools be useful in this? For example, we are starting the next semester a registration clinic. The idea is that we are going to manage help desk in all the registrar's office. In Goa, every marriage has to be first civilly registered. Then only you can go for your religious ceremonies. Similarly, all property dealings agreements has to be registered. So the Goa government has made it all the process online. So now we had a tie-up with the registration department, revenue department with the government of Goa. And now they agreed that they would allow the students to put a help desk in all the registrar's offices, sub-registrar's office. So this is in collaboration with the government. I'm just giving you an example of that you could think the way you want, what is your strengths, what is your weaknesses, etc. And you could bring a lot of change. And therefore, please remember that this legal aid clinic or legal aid activities are mostly student driven. The teachers are there only to guide, but it is not the teacher, unlike in classroom where the teacher guide you the learning experience. But here it is an experiential learning where both the teacher and the student learn together. So therefore, I believe there may be at least 45 teachers who are involved in this, would be logged in by now. So my sincere request to all the teachers, take it serious. I know it's not easy, because taking a class 1 hour, maybe an hour preparation, if you are already 5-6 years experience in teaching the subject, maybe 10 minutes enough for you to go and deliver a lecture. But legal aid activity takes a lot of time. So therefore, you need to sacrifice your time. Sometimes these activities are either Saturdays or Sundays, so you may lose your vacation, etc. But if you impress upon your principal, director, vice chancellor, whatever, whoever is in charge of your institution, that this legal aid activity really brings a change that we expect in the students. I have seen, because there are in every class you would see at least there would be 20-30 backbenchers. Generally open their mouth, generally don't participate in the class discussion. We think that they are good for nothing, but believe me, they are the best in legal aid. So they are the ones who actually bring a lot of change. And I have seen some of these students, when they join in the legal aid, say they can't speak, utter a word, but by end of the 2 years of their legal aid experience, they become orators. And moreover, they would be in a position to understand how the government works, how the law works in reality. So this is what we expect. So do sincerely the competition, leave the result to the jury. You are in safe hands. Of course, you know that there is, the religion always says, do your duty, leave the thing to the God, and the God would take care. Though we are not gods, we are human beings. I hope this will give you a good learning experience. And once again, thank you to Sairam and all other members of the National Law School and also the Ministry of Justice for starting such a wonderful initiation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for really sharing insights and the importance and the seriousness with which we should really take this competition for all our participating institutions. Because when we mean reaching out to people, reaching out to masses, it is no longer confined to four walls of a classroom or an institution. I think this is where action is really going to take, really meet reality. So thank you so much, sir, for bringing this
Leon,
importance.
you raised a very important issue. So one more, I would say, suggestion or request for the students is, you are going out to the society on the name of your college. All your actions reflects about your college. And your reputation is your college reputation, because the first question anywhere you go ask, they will ask is which institution you are. So therefore, when you are meeting with the public, be careful. How do you meet? How do you interact? How do you behave? Sorry for interaction. Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I'd also like to invite Professor Yogesh Pratap Singh to probably take about 5 minutes to share his insights and his thoughts in terms of this competition. For all our participants, Professor Yogesh Pratap Singh is currently a professor of law and the registrar at the National Law University in Odisha. And his research in the field of law and justice varies right across understanding dissents in the Supreme Court to tribal justice. So his varied array of experiences is not just as an administrator, but also as a legal research and legal scholar. So, sir, without further ado, I'd invite you to share a few thoughts on how this competition is going to take forth.
Thank you very much. Am I audible? Okay,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you, sir. So very good afternoon to all the dignitaries, Professor Prasad, Professor Sairam Bhatt, all other participants. I feel honored to be part of this very unique initiative taken by CEERA-NLSIU and Department of Justice, Government of India. And this is being organized in the memory of one of the, I would say, greatest teachers of constitutional law, Professor V.S. Mallar. I take pride and feel privileged that I got the opportunity to be his student in 2005 when I was doing my LLM at NLS. And those classes, I still remember when Professor Devidas, Professor V.S. Mallar and Professor Vijay Kumar used to come together in the class and giving different perspective on any constitutional issue, any constitutional provision. And this probably actually created interest, my interest in teaching constitutional law, and I started teaching constitutional law. And in fact, we imitated on many occasions some the practice of joint or collaborative teaching in National Law School, Odisha also. So it is a very emotional moment to remember our teacher, Professor V.S. Mallar. As a student and as a teacher of Constitution, we discuss various concepts like justice, which is very complex. But in a simple short term, when we say that justice is giving one his due, I think that access to justice, we started very late. We started talking about access to justice very late. And I remember in 2016, though indirectly in many cases, Supreme Court referred that access to justice is also part of fundamental right, Article 21 and 14, but very clearly they mention in 2016, I remember the case Anita Kushwaha versus Pushpa Sadan, where Supreme Court very categorically said that access to justice is a fundamental right under Article 21 and 14 of the Constitution, and they also identified 4 broad components of access to justice. The first component was that the state must provide an effective adjudicatory mechanism. When I say state, state in the broader sense, and this state also includes the universities, the legal aid clinics, which are a part of the law university. So we are also part of this mechanism, and this is our duty, and we are under obligation to help the state. This is not only the duty of the government of India to provide access to justice or legal aid to needy people. The second component, which was emphasized by the Supreme Court, was the mechanism so provided must be reasonably accessible in terms of distance. So legal aid clinics, in my opinion, play a very, very pivotal role in providing access to justice, helping people who are in need of legal aid. The third component, which was emphasized by the Supreme Court, was the process of adjudication must be speedy, and the litigants' access to adjudicatory process must be affordable. So keeping in mind all these 4 components, I think that legal aid clinics in national law schools and other law schools, law colleges, it is one of the essential requirement, mandatory requirement of the Bar Council of India, that every institution has to have a legal aid clinic. So it can play a very, very important and pivotal role in access to justice. In law school in Odisha, we have worked on various projects. We worked with UNDP, and we established 3 legal aid clinics. We are running 3 legal aid clinics in Odisha, different parts of Odisha, including one which is in the university, and which is working with this Odisha State Legal Services Authorities and District Legal Services Authorities, Cuttack. The purpose of setting of these clinics is to extend legal aid to the people who are marginalized, who need legal help, legal aid in the society, and to also complement the existing. I said that it is not only the responsibility of the government. So we also need to complement the existing governmental authorities or governmental mechanism in their action. Professor Prasad has already mentioned all the important facets of legal aid clinic and also the competitions which is going to take place, and what are the requirements where you need to emphasize. I will not repeat all these points, but I would refer one more point which I think is being given more weightage and very useful also, that we are now emphasizing also on mediation through legal aid. We are running legal aid, but now law university is also starting mediation centers, because legal aid clinic and then helping people to approach the court, again it's become a difficult process. So recently we organized a mediation training program where around 15 to 16 teachers of National Law University, they were given training in the mediation. So we organize this 45 hours, which is a mandatory training to become a certified mediator. And now we are trying to work with the Odisha High Court and the Odisha Legal Services Authority that our teachers can also be. So along with the students, our teachers will also help, and the legal aid clinic, they will work together so that people who will come to our legal aid for help, they should also be given this kind of facility so that we can resolve their disputes and they get justice outside the court. Because once you enter inside the court premises, in spite of all these efforts and in spite of all these helps, all these facilities created by the government and by the legal aid clinics, still it is a very cumbersome process. So mediation is also a kind of a skill which we need to inculcate in the students and the teachers also. Now law schools are emphasizing, other law schools will also take a lead. The initiative taken by CEERA and Department of Justice, I already said, is very unique initiative, and it has the potential to revolutionize the functioning of legal aid clinics. 45 law schools across the country, they are participating in this competition. I think we must organize this kind of competition in future also. Maybe other law schools will also take learn from Bangalore, and they will also organize this kind of competition. And the initiative will encourage the students, the budding lawyers, to explore the creative means to disseminate legal awareness and legal aid to people who are in need of legal aid or access to justice. So I congratulate CEERA, Professor Sai Bhatt, the entire team, organizing team, for organizing this competition. And I also thank the organizing team for giving me this opportunity to be part of this competition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing the initiatives that have been undertaken under your guidance and with your association. I think if all our participating institutions have to take away from this is that legal aid has no boundaries. Legal awareness and legal literacy dissemination has no limits, has no curtailment. So I think what we're really testing here is the creativity, the innovation with which the students along with their faculty members are probably going to be taking forward this competition. So thank you so much to give them an insight on how legal literacy and legal aid can really go beyond certain pre-established bounds. I think we have lost Professor Anirban at this moment, but let me take this opportunity to acknowledge the presence of some of our esteemed professors and colleagues. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Satya, Mr. Divyanshu Priyadarshi. We have Professor Shirish Kulkarni and also the faculty members from IIPA. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'd like to just check again if Professor Anirban is here with us. Okay, I think there must be some
he was here. I
technical
think
issue.
you can,
Yeah.
once he joins in, we can definitely slot his talk. I think we can move forward. Yeah.
Yes. So I think now we are coming to the much awaited segment of this session. So at this juncture, let me take this opportunity to express our most sincere gratitude to Professor M.R.K. Prasad and Professor Yogesh Pratap Singh for sharing insights as jury members, because they will be joining us throughout the entire course of this competition in evaluating the entire program and the elements of the same. So before we move into the next segment.
Yeah, before we do that, in the presence of the jury members and in presence of Ashutosh as well, I just wanted to highlight that this is a competition that spans over several months. To be precise, I think it's a 3-month competition. And what we have planned is to organize 2 conclaves one in the month of August, the other in the month of September. So just for the information of all faculty colleagues, jury members and the Department of Justice, our second conclave on this competition is going to be organized on 19th August. It will also be post lunch at 2 p.m. Kindly note that it's part of all the information that we have shared with the participants and the participating teams. And the third conclave will happen on 23rd of September. That is also at 2 p.m. So we'll have 3 conclaves. This is the first one. This is the launch conclave, followed by 2 other conclaves, one in the month of August, the other in the month of September. And we'll have the final results and award being given on 26th November. So just so that we can all block our calendars and attend this conclave. And I believe that these conclaves are very integral to the competition. And we hope that everyone will take part in these conclaves as a mandatory factor to fulfill the purposes of this competition. So that is the whole idea behind organizing these conclaves as well. So yeah, now let's move on to understanding some aspects of our work in the Disha program.
So as we move forward, before we brief our participants with the rules and guidelines of the competition, we would like to share with all our participants who have joined us and with all our colleagues our initiatives under the Pan India Legal Literacy and Legal Awareness Program. As a key disseminating institution and a key resource personnel center, the National Law School Center for Environmental Law has been working on identifying innovative methods and innovative means through which legal literacy can reach out to the masses. We understand that legal literacy is not just about going door to door, but about, in the words as Professor Venkat Rao mentioned, that legal aid starts with legal literacy. So we are trying to make legal literacy as appealing, as aesthetically pleasing, and as attractive to masses, right from schools to people, to the most vulnerable communities. So in the beginning limb of this project, the Center for Environmental Law has undertaken several measures, several initiatives through creative means and creative digital strategies, where we are trying to disseminate information along with our coordinating institutions, the representatives of which are here with us today. So just to give you an insight of what we have been doing and how you can take this forward as institutions alongside our initiative. First and foremost, the Center for Environmental Law believes in tapping into digital outreach. And in this segment, we have been devising audio-visual recordings on various legal topics of public concern, of public issue. I would like to invite, at this juncture, I would like to invite my colleague, Mr. Rohit Kamath, to just share with our participants a glimpse of what it is that we have been doing in this limb of audio-visual legal literacy dissemination. We will be sharing with you our YouTube channel and information in this regard and how this can be taken forward by participating institutions. Rohit, over to you.
Thank you, Lian. It has been a very jubilant discussion from all panelists and about understanding what the Pan India Legal Literacy Program is and Disha scheme. Now, as the Center for Environmental Law has been awarded this project, and it is a duration of 2 years, we were selected as a national agency for reaching out to dissemination of legal literacy and legal awareness. Now, when we speak about dissemination as a single lone institution, I think probably we would not be able to achieve the distribution of or dissemination of all these legal literacy and legal awareness as much as we can with the collaborative efforts of all the partnering institutions who are coming together under this aegis of the V.S. Mallar Memorial Legal Aid Competition. Now, as a single institution, had we gone ahead with the dissemination strategy, probably our outreach would not have been as great as that we have now, which is going to happen under the aegis of this competition, wherein we also have the garnering strength and support of over 50 teams across India. And NLSIU Bangalore being located strategically in Bangalore, and it would have been quite an inconvenient task, or rather a very expensive task or an affair to actually reach out to the greater masses across India. And now through this competition, I'm sure that each of these partnering institutions are going to be the torch bearers of the Disha scheme and help us in supporting the Government of India's initiative in ensuring legal literacy and legal awareness for all. Now, as one of the facets of the project, CEERA brought out with this initiative of creating digital legal literacy through recording certain audiovisual mechanisms. Now, under the scheme, what we have essentially done across is we have identified certain various areas. Now, as law professors and law students, I'm sure you are aware that each state has its own particular dimensions. So under this scheme, we have tried to garner all those particular aspects of a generic application, like say, for instance, with regard to the Right to Information Act, it could be with regard to the rights of senior citizens, it could be with regard to filing of an FIR, and such allied topics, which are common and which run across the entire, gamut of India, wherein we have tried to bring about a short video of about 10 to 15 minutes discussing about the various facets of the law as to how the citizen can avail its benefits. Now, one of the added advantages that we have had is that we also reached out to certain partnering institutions who could come up with these audiovisual recordings in a regional language as well. So we have been till date successful in getting across recordings in regional languages such as Marwadi, Tamil, Kannada, and Hindi as well in our efforts of recording these videos. I would just bring about to your notice a short video description which we have brought about, wherein in the scheme of carrying out your legal aid literacy, you can make use of all of these videos while you're trying to spread awareness across the people. And we'll just play a small video so that you understand what the video contains as to how it can be made. And probably we will also expect that each of these partnering institutions contributes at least one video in the form of a particular legal awareness measure so that it can be included within the entire scheme of the project.
There's no audio. There's no audio. Rohit?
Rohit, will you try taking off your earphones? Will that work?
I small technical glitch and we are unable to play the audio.
That's okay. I think we have shared the YouTube link in the chat box. I'm sure the participants can actually click on that and see these videos.
And in the first email that you have received confirming your registrations, we have also given you an access to the channel link that the CEERA has launched. I would urge all the partnering institutions to actually visit this channel, subscribe, and disseminate these videos through your social network or any other modality of dissemination that you may choose to go about. These are a couple of short aspects that CEERA has taken as an initiative to bring about a diversity in the manner of dissemination. With the COVID era and the pandemic coming across, we have learned that the people across the globe are quite tech savvy, and they are able to access through a distance mode as well through the network of internet. And we are also urging all the partnering institutions to make use of the network of internet and other facilities in their dissemination strategies and going forward with the particular aspects. If there be any further aspects of clarification or anything, I'm sure that each of the partnering institutions can feel free to reach out to us to understand as to how the implementation strategies can be taken forward. Over to you, Leon.
Yeah, no, at this point of time, I just wanted to say this. We have esteemed faculty colleagues, law teachers, and very senior professors who have joined today. So I just want to extend a warm invitation to all of you to do a video recording for us under this project and as a part of this competition as well. You will notice that we have videos from quite a few colleagues and on topics that are very, very important and relevant. For example, I would request Rohit to show the last slide of one of these videos. If you notice, the video is not looking at dissemination of just mere information. We are looking at this video as a very hands-on learning experience of giving awareness, but also giving assistance or legal assistance that may be required. So if there are any helpline numbers that the government has or any NGO has, we immediately start giving that helpline number in the video as well. So any common man or any citizen who wants to know about his rights, say in this case, the rights of elderly citizens, he looks at this video, he appreciates what his right is. But very importantly, as a part of legal aid, I'm sure all of you will appreciate, we must facilitate how that right can be exercised, how that right can be in terms of, say, if there is a grievance, how that grievance can be redressed, or how an infringement of right can be actually adequately addressed upon. So what we try and do is to give information of any kind of government and non-governmental assistance that is available to the citizens, and the citizens can actually access the same and take legal assistance. Ladies and gentlemen, please note, at our center, we have a pro bono assistance number. And this is a mobile number that citizens can call at any point of time if they wish to avail legal services, pro bono legal services. And this is a number that we have got. We have started this number under this project itself. And I'm sure legal aid clinics who are part of this competition can also disseminate the email ID and this phone number, and also our website in case that is required in terms of dissemination strategy. Also, I would like to invite all of you to join us and give us ideas about how legal awareness and legal literacy can be taken forward too. For example, ladies and gentlemen, one of our shortcomings has been most of these videos are in English. I will definitely appreciate your concerns of saying when we go to villages or when we adopt villages, English may not be the medium of communication. Maybe it's the local language. And I think I would invite teachers who can actually record some of these topics in local language. For example, it can be Malayalam, it could be Telugu, it should be Hindi, because there are many states in which Hindi can be a medium of communication, of legal awareness. And hence we are looking for faculty members, colleagues, researchers, and law students who can actually record it in the local language as well. And this will be part of our YouTube channel. It will be part of our platform for the Department of Justice. And this will probably be circulated among all the team members so that each one of us can access legal information through legal literacy. So this is the whole idea, friends. So I'm inviting all my esteemed colleagues who have logged in today, all the faculty colleagues who I know and you know me. to join us in this initiative. I think the videos are only one part of what we have done so far in this project. Let me invite Madhu to introduce the other two parts in this project. Madhu.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. I'll just start sharing my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. So a very warm welcome to all the participants, especially the participating institutions. This is also for your information. So another initiative that we have taken up under this project is to create frequently asked questions on some very relevant laws that most citizens need on a day-to-day basis. So we have covered a host of topics under this, especially those which we thought would be very, very relevant to the common man. So we have something on the Consumer Protection Act. We have also prepared FAQs on the POCSO Act. So just one second. We've also prepared a video on the POCSO Act, that is the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. We also have prepared an FAQ on the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act. So what we wanted to do was try and pick up topics which we thought would be very, very relevant, which the common man would be very, very interested to know. And the format that we have used is to try and avoid legal jargon as much as possible, to try and make it, one second. So the idea behind the FAQs was to first identify what is the particular right that we are talking about, who are the people who are entitled to access these rights, who are the different stakeholders who are involved in giving us these rights, what could be the grievance redressal mechanism if these rights are not made available to us. So the entire idea is that the FAQ should be extremely workable for anybody who is coming across this piece of document. We are not expecting this to be another bare act where you open and start checking the definitions, or it's not supposed to be a legal document. It is supposed to be a user manual of sort, which is very, very user friendly for the common man and the lay person. So if you can see, even for the Right to Education Act, what we have tried to do is, what are the kinds of schools where children can get education? What is the process for admission? So we are trying to intimate the common man or the person who wants to exercise this right with even the procedural formalities, like these are the ways in which you can access it. And some of these laws, although they are central laws, they may have state-specific rules. So in most of our FAQs, we have tried to at least cover some of the major state rules which feature or which could, impact the implementation of these laws in those specific states. So this is the idea with which we have prepared FAQs. We have prepared it on a host of topics. These are just a few. We've also prepared on something like animal rights. How could we try and protect the rights of animals in and around a locality? What are the roles of households when they are generating waste? What are the different kinds of waste that households generate? Who are the people that they should reach out to if they see that the garbage in and around their locality has not been cleared? So these are the ways in which we are trying to create legal literacy. The idea behind the FAQ was also to keep it very short and crisp so that it can be shared easily across different kinds of medium. This can even be shared over a WhatsApp chat. So again, the idea, the reason why we are showing this to first intimate you about the different initiatives that we have taken up, and also to give you certain ideas as to how you can take up some of these measures in your legal aid competition to maybe increase legal literacy. Another idea also, and another suggestion that we have also received from the Department of Justice was to see what are the specific needs in your specific locality. So maybe even before you start your initiative, you could start off with something like a short survey to understand what is the legal awareness in your particular area, and then maybe try and identify the laws which you would want to focus on. So this is something that we have been doing, and if you have any questions, any clarifications as to how should you go about it, please feel free to get in touch with us. We'll be there to guide you through this journey. So I think that would be all from my side. Leanne will take you through the next initiative that we have taken for the dissemination strategy of legal awareness and legal literacy.
As another means of promoting legal literacy and legal awareness through creative means, we have also looked at disseminating information through attractive and brief or short strategies. So which is why we believe that when we look at targeting specific audiences such as school children or people who are not very well versed with technical terms or who are also looking for quick information, we have also undertaken an initiative to tap into our creative mindset by looking into formulating posters on certain information or issues that is very crucial to the whole strategy of legal dissemination. Which is why, as we have, as you can see on the screen, we've identified certain areas of concern, certain areas of public importance, including practical ways in which people can really access justice and access legal schemes. As you can see, this is an example of one poster that we have prepared and designed on disseminating information on the procedural manner of executing or enforcing the right to information through online means. We have kept this, the whole purpose of designing posters is to provide information in a crisp and brief manner and to make it more aesthetically pleasing to the public. And it can be made readily available either in your course of dissemination, either through your panchayat offices or your district legal service authority offices. So this can be even posted up on bulletins. So as you can see that these posters provide very practical information. They're very crisp information. And this is primarily to reach out to the masses in case they are looking to find information on certain aspects, especially procedural aspects. So this, in addition to the frequently asked questions, these posters provide very brief information on various practical ways in which people can really access justice. So this is also available on our website. This will be made available to our participating institutions, and our participating institutions are also invited to utilize these posters to disseminate through your social media platforms, through your websites, through your web portals, because the ultimate aim of the Ministry of Law and Justice is to really disseminate information with the widest reach. And it is with your help, we believe that our initiatives, our efforts in devising such information and putting it together can really reach the masses. So this is the goal. And this is something that we have also undertaken in addition to our audiovisual content.
Also, if I can make an announcement, friends, as I told you, this is a competition that spans over a couple of months. And very soon, probably in the next week, we will be sending a Google sheet, Google form sheet to all of you, because we would want to know from each one of you, from the 50 teams that are going to register and participate in this competition, what are the topics that are required to be covered in the legal literacy and legal awareness program. These are some of the topics that we have already identified through our own research with our own database that we have been able to generate about what topics are required to be disseminated and what topics require attention in terms of preparation of, say, a video, a frequently asked question, or a poster, so that people want to know more about these legislations. So we had done extensive consultation with experts. We would reach out to you for additional consultation very soon, and we would request you to fill this Google form and let us know the areas in your state, in your city, in your village. What would people want to know about? Which law would they want to know more? What kind of access would they be interested in? Should we develop some kind of legal material on, say, something like mediation, something on Panchayat Raj? Please let us know, because that is the legal material or creation of legal material that we will work on. Please note, we will work on in collaboration with you. So we will request you to partner with us in content creation and also in taking part in the competition. So this is a collaboration that we are keenly looking forward to. So please look forward to this Google Sheet, and please let us know regional, national, state, or any specific area of legal literacy or legal awareness that may be part of your journey or your process in your legal institution. So this is something that we are very keenly looking forward to information from your side. Second, please let us know if some of you can record for us, some of you can create this material for us. It will be part of the pan-India dissemination strategy. So I know Dr. Binu Mol is with us. I'm talking to her right now. She is from Kerala. We have a very long partnership in many projects. She has actively taken part. So I'm going to request Dr. Binu if she can help us record in Malayalam and also English. If she can give us something from Kerala as topics that are necessary for people in Kerala to understand, for people in Kerala to know. So this can be the scientific basis for us to create the digital material, to know what kind of material people are eager to learn, interact, and also appreciate about. So this is a collaborative venture, friends. Please understand there is everything to win about, and the win is that the Indian citizen gets the right to access legal literacy and legal education. So that is something that I just wanted to place at this platform here. Dr. Binu, you wanted to say something, please.
Sir, we'll definitely do that, sir. We'll just see which all topics are relevant, and we'll let you know, sir. We'll do that. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I could always rely on her, knowing her commitment to this cause. Thank you, Dr.
Sir, we are delighted to be part of this legal aid competition, and we'll take it up.
Thank you. Thank you.
If we can move on to our next segment and the most eagerly waited segment in terms of discussion of the rules and clarifications of the competition. In this segment, we will first be taking all our participants through the guidelines. The guidelines have been shared in advance, but we will be briefing you a little bit more in terms of the technicalities and what we expect in terms of the outcomes of the same. And then we will follow them up with a few clarifications. So I'd invite.
Yeah, can I just, before that, can we just invite our colleagues in case they have something to add? Colleagues like Satyadeep, Vivek Shukla, Sachin Tripathi, Uma Sandhya, they are here. So we'll open up to our esteemed colleagues who are part of this project. They are part of the legal aid competition as well. They are going to host regional workshops under this project. So if you can invite them and then go to the rules here with your permission, I think we'll invite. Let me start with Satya first. Satyadeep, please, over to you.
Do I need to speak on Bihar issues, what we are facing here, the challenge about?
We can do that in the second conclave, Satya, but if just as the launch, if you would just want to come in and, yeah. Give a message to the teams and the participants.
It is a very emotional moment for in taking part into a wonderful program, which is in memory of one of our fondest teacher, Professor Mallar. I always take a great pride that I have been taught constitutional law by Professor Mallar, along with Professor Devidas and Professor Vijay Kumar in my LLMDs. Thereafter, I got opportunity to work at NLS for some time. Got many chances of interaction and many fond memories with him. Especially when I'm representing Bihar, I must share, before this, I have never shared this. When I was in LLM in 2008, there was a great tragedy in Bihar. A Kosi river embankment broke and whole river was washed out, many towns and villages. It was a devastating moment for Bihar. I had put a pamphlet in National Law School board that some fund can be raised, and I was putting the names who were contributing some amounts for that. Professor Mallar called me and I went to meet him, and he told us to give me the details of Chief Minister's Relief Fund. and need not to put my name there on the board. And he took that and he contributed that. I never told to anybody, but how simple man he was, and without taking any name out of that. He was. Thank you, sir, for making me part of this program, wonderful program. Thank you, sir.
Just as a matter of information under this project, Dr. Satya will be holding a legal literacy and legal awareness workshop in the state of Bihar, which is one of the aspirational states, and the districts have also been identified. So this will be a pan-India kind of a workshop in the state of Bihar, and Dr. Satya is our partner, he is our associate in this particular project. Thank you, Dr. Satya.
Sir.
Can I invite Dr. Anjali if she is with us from NLU Jodhpur? Dr. Anjali.
A very good afternoon to all the people there. And thank you, Sairam sir, for giving us this opportunity. And we have been glad to be part of this pan-India movement about legal literacy and legal awareness. I just want to share one thing that our students have been doing, a tireless work at our university, at our level with respect to RT and all. Of course, they'll get a bigger platform to work on this legal awareness. And what, as a chairperson of Legal Aid and Awareness Committee, I have observed that when you give a chance to a student, every student have a spark in their in them, and when you give them a chance, they definitely prove to be very useful and very grateful for the society. And this of course, Pan India is really that kind of chance, which they would be getting a kind of an acceleration or the kind of a velocity that they'll get in their life, and they will definitely achieve what they want to give to the society. Thank you once again, sir. Thank you, NLS, and thank you, Sairam, sir.
Thank you so much, Professor Anjali. Professor Anjali, and we hope to organize one such workshop, a physical one, at NLU Jodhpur in the coming days. So she's also, she has been an integral part of our project, and we continue to collaborate. And her work has been very significant, especially in getting some of the legal material being generated. And her students have taken very active part in helping us. So, Dr. Anjali, a special thank you to you.
Thank you very much, sir. And thank you on behalf of my all students. So thank you once again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Can I request Professor Sachin Tripathi, please? Sachin from Symbiosis, Nagpur.
Yeah. Yes. So, a very warm greetings to all, and respected Sairam sir and all the CEERA team members. So once again, a big gratitude for making us the part of this novel program. So my students have just finished up their exams this season. So I have discussed with them about this particular project. They are very eagerly waiting to dedicatedly work for this particular project. I ensure that very soon, sir, we'll be coming up with all the major issues from the region of state of Maharashtra, and specifically we will definitely contribute in terms of regional language Marathi as well, sir. So that I wish to guarantee, sir, will definitely contribute now. And my best wishes to all the teams who are participating in this competition, and wish you all the best to all of you. And so eagerly waiting to host the workshop, as we have already said.
Yes.
And I second the opinion by just now by Dr. Anjali, that students really, they will be the backbone of this entire project, and they will surely learn how to connect with the society and give something to the society. So thank you so much, sir, once again, and wish you all the best to all the competitors.
Thank you. The competition is on one side, but I'm just looking for more partners to join us in the content creation side, so that the objectives of the Department of Justice can be fulfilled, especially on a pan-India scale. So I don't think we alone can do it, and partners like all of you, if you can join our hands, strengthen our hands, we can actually do it in a much better manner. So thank you, Dr.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Vivek Shukla. Vivek is going to help us in the state of Uttar Pradesh. He's a practitioner, a PhD scholar at the National Law School. Vivek, over to you.
Thank you very much, respected sir, and all the panelists for giving me the opportunity to be a part of this particular program. And regarding, if I would like to talk about the state of Uttar Pradesh, regarding the programs which we are going to have, as of now, we have already approached, and some of the other NGOs, they have also approached us to have the program and to collaborate with us for this legal literacy and legal awareness program. And in that, one of the Ekal Abhiyan, Ekal Foundation, which is very much devoted for the work for the rural public in India, and they have also approached to us to be a part of this particular legal literacy program. And like that, we are also in the process to have some of other collaboration with other NGOs as well. And most probably we are going to have one legal literacy and legal awareness program in the month of August first week, or I think in the month of August. Just dates has to be decided, or other formalities are already over. So, and out of these 8 aspirational districts which has been identified in the state of Uttar Pradesh, we are going to start with this, the Fatehpur district, and all other districts also we are approaching to them, and we will have that good literacy program there as well. So, as of now, thank you very much to all the panelists. And we will be active participate. We will do the active participation in this particular program. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Vivek. Professor Anirban Chakravarti has joined us back. We missed him in the earlier session. Dr. Anirban, if you're with us.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are now, please.
I'm very sorry. I apologize. Suddenly there was a crash of the internet, so I had to come back home and join. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to be part of this program. I have heard till Yogesh was in between, so I got logged out at that time. So a lot has been spoken, so I don't want to talk much about either legal aid or clinic. But one thing that I want to just take reference from what M.R.K. Prasad was talking about, that these days I refrain from judging or being party to any such competitions of any nature because of lack of seriousness. I somehow see that the students are doing it professionally, of course, but not from their heart, and the learning part is missing. But there are 3 particular reasons why when this offer was given to me, I immediately said yes. One is, of course, my very good senior colleague and friend, Professor CEERA, is heading this project. So I could not say no when he was there. Second thing is, this whole initiative, the Access to Justice project and the government, I being part of this for some time, before this phase and working out the plan. So it was a long time vision of those of us who believe in this kind of a promotion of legal education, that students of law should be engaged in this, and this would actually be productive in actually ensuring the goals of access to justice. And the third reason is also obviously the persons in whose name this program is. Unlike many of the other earlier speakers and colleagues, I have not been so much in contact with Professor Mallar, but I, of course, being a student of law and teacher of that generation, have always heard and have always aspired and been inspired by him. But one small incident I just want to say, which really touched and keep on remembering about Professor Mallar to myself. I was a student of LLM in 2004, doing my LLM dissertation under Professor Menon's supervision on ADR, and Professor Menon said that you go and meet Professor Nagraj unless you have a work with, you have a direct communication and direct, touch and supervision of Professor Nagraj, you will never be understanding ADR in this country. So I planned to visit to National Law School, and Professor Mallar used to be the registrar at that point of time. So I dropped a letter. That day's email was not that much in communication. So I dropped a letter, and before I expected that the letter would reach, I started my journey with a small fear that maybe, I may not get an accommodation in the law school campus. And I was first time going to Bangalore. It's a complete unknown city and with very limited means because I was a student. But in the morning when I reached the first gate of National Law School and I inquired the security guard, he said that, yes, sir, in the guest house, in one of the student residence, your room has been reserved. So he gave me the keys. So I took the keys, I moved into the room, and then after that I had a breakfast, and then I thought I'll, thank Professor Mallar. I went to his office, I met him, and he called me by my name. I was so surprised. And he said that I received a letter from you, whether you are comfortable, whether you need. So such a person to me, a Register of National Law School, Professor Mallar, and a small, person like me, a LLM student from Calcutta, when he remembers my name and asks me, it was such a touching feeling. So this was the human part of Professor Mallar. His intellectual part, there is no question or there is nothing to say about it. But the human part he had, it was unbelievable. Many people have said. So I would just appeal to the students to think that remember the person whose name this competition is, and therefore when you are engaging, you should engage with heart, because that was his whole USP. Whatever he did, when he was delivering a lecture in the class or outside or doing any work, it was not that he was just doing because he was asked to do. He was doing that because his heart said to do. We remember him teaching in our FDP in constitutional law, the way he used to speak about the cases, the history, the judges who were involved, their propriety, their concern, the politics behind it. So it was not that a person is just learning or speaking. It was like his inner own self. And legal aid is something that inner own self is required. So don't take this as a competition where you have a prize and you have to win. Of course, that is necessary. But that's an incentive. But what I think the whole idea behind this is to build a pool of volunteers all over the country who will take this initiative of legal aid and access to justice flag to far-reaching places and would actually continue to do it. I told Professor CEERA in our first meeting, if he recalls, that sir, this initiative should continue for perpetuity. And we will be there to support you in whatever ways possible, because it's within this competition you actually can do something which can change people's life. That's the important. It's not a hypothetical moot court or it's a hypothetical ADR competition. It is real people, real life, and making real difference to those lives. So take it in that way. You have a great duty, great responsibility. Of the silver line is, of course, if you become the first or second in the competition and get the prize, but that should not be the motive of the initiative. Your real reason for this participating in the competition, your real reason is you will get to help some people who requires this assistance. So real people, real help, and really making difference to the life of those who requires them. So that is, the few things I want to say. That and all the materials that you prepare in different vernacular languages, make sure that you keep it, you send it to them in a proper manner. Of course, your final report may be in the English language, but English is not the language of legal aid of this country. The legal aid language of this country is, the vernacular language, the distinct languages of the distinct places where you will reach. I often say, Ashutosh knows how difficult. Ashutosh is my colleague when we used to work in Access to Justice together. Ashutosh knows we were so much working to produce materials in local vernacular languages, basic materials, because in 2013, 14, 15, when we were working together, it was not there. It was only in English. And 99% of the population, it could not reach. So therefore, you have responsibilities to also maintain these documents and send it properly to the National Law School, so that in the way they can send it to the department. It's a great, creative product that, the department will relish to have it, and then subsequently disseminate it and bring visibility to the legal aid system of this country. So with few words, I thank the department and the law school and Professor Bhatt for taking this great initiative. I congratulate all of you to be part of this program, and looking forward to actively, see some great, things coming out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your encouraging words. At this moment, let me ask Professor Bhatt if we can move on with our next segment. I think
we have an attendance form that is going to be shared very soon. As we said, some of these things will be, the criteria and with the way the competition will be judged. Because we are seeing some of them leaving this conclave. So that's the reason we are just going to share the Google form for the attendance as well. So yeah, now let's go to the rules, please.
So to all our participating institutions, we have circulated the guidelines and rules for the way in which various components in this competition shall be carried out. However, to give you a little bit more detail into the same, I invite my colleague, Mr. Rohit Kamat, to brief our participants on the rules of the competition and what's the protocol to be followed by our teams in this regard.
Hi, Lian. Thank you. I think one of the first points on clarification, I think majority of the participating institutions have, is on the number of participants that are to be taking part in the event. Now, let me tell you, the participation is invited for 8 core members who will be a part of the general overall scheme of the competition. And if you look into the guidelines, it is clearly clarified that the participation institution can take any such number of additional other legal aid volunteers from your institution who will also be assisting you in carrying out the deliverables under the competition. Now, if you look at it, how we are going to take into note the other legal aid volunteers is that it will be forming a part of the declaration that you'll be submitting in the final report. Now, as we had mentioned earlier, this is not an event where it is going to be a participation of only one faculty coordinator and the respective 8 core members. It is only to ensure that there is a sense of accountability that we have made this bifurcation. And if there are any other faculty members who are working along with the entire team, their names can be brought out in this Annexure 1 in the final report. And we will not be requiring this information till the end of the competition. So you are free to choose any number of additional members, but for the purpose of accountability and ensuring there is a particular strata of communication, we would urge that the number of core team members be restricted to 8, with 1 faculty in charge who will take care of the entire proceedings and 1 student coordinator who will be also in charge of the entire competition. Now, with that being said, I think the next step that we'll be moving about is to understanding what are the various aspects that the competition entails. Now, if you look at it, the competition has several facets. It's not just one event that we are organizing. Rather, we are organizing a particular event called a village or community halt. Then we are also having something called speed mentoring. And then we also have some event called a street play. And we are also having a particular aspect of village adalat. And we also have another aspect of Jan Sunwai. Now, there are an entire gamut of 5 stages in which the competitions are going to be a facet of. Now, with regard to each of these particular aspects, we have, for the purpose of marking criteria, we have divided certain aspects which we would require all the teams to strictly affirm to. There are certain deadlines for submissions, like how in your moot court events, you have the requirement for submission of memorials. Similar to it, we have devised a particular aspect of submission criteria of certain survey forms and a particular aspect of questionnaires, a particular aspect of your screenplay, which you're going to be using for street plays, and all other scripts in a particular fashion. So rules and the guidelines prescribe as to how the entire aspect of the competition is going to be governed, and the submission dates, which I think each of the team is required to be adhering to, is over here under point number 7. So I would suggest that as per the particular events, there are certain bifurcations made. Like say, for instance, in respect of the event of street play, we have divided that every entity who is participating is required to conduct and convene at least 2 street plays in the designated places where the legal aid is going to be carried out. And for adjudging this particular aspect, we will require the teams to be sending us the 2 scripts for the screenplays on the identified thematic areas on August 25th, 2022. Now, on the same day, we also have certain survey questionnaires and interviews questions which are to be taken across for the purpose of Jan Sunwai, which would be a public hearing which the legal aid cell will be carrying out in the designated areas. And these survey questionnaires and interview questions, if they are also used for certain other aspects, like say, for example, the village halt or community halt which you are carrying out, because we have set across certain guidelines and parameters which are required to be collected to ensure that there has been a participation of each team in these particular aspects. How do we assess you? We assess you on the basis of the strength of the questionnaire and the survey questions as one of the parameters. And the second parameter is the actual undertaking of the particular activity. So that is how we have the first deadline in the competition on August 25th. There would also be a second conclave that is held about a week prior to the first deadline, that is on August 19, 2022, wherein you can bring about certain challenges or parameters that you have been facing in the events that you're carrying out, so that we can have a discussion or deliberation on. And after this, like I mentioned to you, once the particular first deadline for submission is completed, you may proceed to go ahead with implementing the 2 scripts that you have recorded, and you will be required to share video recordings of those street plays and the particular necessary activities that you carry on under the Jan Sunwai and other basis mechanisms, so that we are able to assess the manner in which the activities have been undertaken in a clear and concise fashion by the participating institution. Please note, there are both these components that will be involved in the marking criteria. The marking criteria has also been defined in the first column. The second deadline for submission is the video recordings of street plays. Like I mentioned to you, the street plays would be based on the 2 scripts that you submit and on the identified thematic areas. The thematic areas have also been defined in the guidelines, which you can fall back on to for understanding what is your role in doing the same. And also on the survey and questionnaires of interview for village halt or community halt. Please note, in the first instance, or the last date for submission was with regard to the Jan Sunwai process. The second deadline is for submission of survey questionnaires for the village halt or community halt. Yet again, the parameters for determining or preparation of these questionnaires have already been determined. And once the second set of questionnaires are submitted on the second day, we will also go ahead with the marking criteria on a similar fashion based on evaluating your written submission as well as the manner in which you conduct the event. Now, in the last and final aspect, before the final conclave comes, October 15, 2022 would be the date on which you would be submitting the final report. Now, what is the final report? The final report is a culmination of various quantitative and qualitative data or assessment that you have carried out throughout the project, with an undertaking letter which is given under the last 2 pages. Now, the final report, we have fixed across a particular word limit to it, and we would request all institutions to partake with it and ensure that all the sections 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 are duly prepared. So this will also be one of the particular criteria for judging your particular progress in the competition. Now, with this said, there is one small aspect that I would like to clarify to you, is with regard to the conduct of your village adalats. Now, one of the particular aspects is with regard to all the other activities, they can be carried out within a given small time frame. But I think your focus on village adalats should begin right from now. I think probably I would urge all the participating teams to understand what the village adalat is by going through the guidelines. It is a manner in which, like how MRK Prasad sir was mentioning, that institutions have to take across a particular aspect of representing the people with problems. So this is a particular facet which we have tried to look about under the Village Adalat event, wherein participating institutions through their legal aid cells will carry out mediation or any other form of alternative dispute resolutions, and they will advise them in case they reach out to a settlement as to the approaching the Lok Adalat and certain other aspects. Now, this is a particular facet which will be quite a time consuming and a challenging for all those students who are looking across to participate or don the coat of a lawyer, and they can work across with on hands-on experiences which they get from grievances which they hear from the general public. And as partnering institutions, you would also be able to advocate the need for alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. Now, this is the broad gamut under which the rules have been framed. And if there be any clarifications, I think you have the email ID of mine and CEERA's, where you can reach out to for any sort of clarification. Okay, I think I have received one question. I think I'll answer this question, and the rest of the questions can be reached out to us by way of email. Now, it is mentioned here the 2 scripts for screenplays. Are they supposed to be on the same subject or topic or 2 different subjects? Please note, we have identified about 4 to 5 topics for you to prepare the scripts. We would suggest that you prepare the scripts on 2 different topics because we do not want it to be reiterated on the same topic, because we want a greater awareness to be created. So as such, we would suggest that if you are selecting one topic for one of the scripts, the second script should be from a different topic altogether. And so that there avoids an overlap of the same particular aspect. And these aspects of scripts and other pointers are there to create dissemination. Now, on the same point of issue or anything, I think if you are going to be repeating about on a multiple diverse way, I think the dissemination comes to a little bit of a short halt. So I would suggest that you urge all the participants to take out different thematic areas for each of these events. Yes, Professor Mehta, yes, you can have volunteers participating from your institution. So you can have any number of students. We have not capped the limit of the number of students, but these have to be ensured that each student who you take as a volunteer is actively partaking in these events or activities. They have to have either a role which they play, wherein they are taking a questionnaire response from a particular villager, or in case they are in a skit, they have to be enacting a role, or they have to be the one of the script writers, or the one of the persons who's giving across the vocal or the announcements. We do not want students to be just included for the sake of it. I understand that as teachers, we always are benevolent to give that benefit to the students and include their names. But I would urge that you include their name only if they're actually working on it, and not needlessly, because we will not keep a check on it. We will leave it to you as the ultimate beneficiaries who will determine their contribution in the project, because the participation of all other students is going to come under the undertaking letter, which is to be issued by your HOD. So that is up to you to involve any number of students, but as long as they contribute to it, we do not have any inhibitions to the same. Yeah, I think there's one more particular point. Could you please elaborate a little bit about speed mentoring? Would webinars conducted towards legal literacy be covered under speed mentoring, or will it vary? Yes, please note one of the particular active approaches that we are trying to look across under speed mentoring is not to look at the large masses, but rather schools and other primary institutions where young minds are taught about certain budding aspects about what they should know and what are the various schemes that the state governments and the central governments are providing for their education and for their growth. Now, with regard to Jan Sunwai, these are on public issues and awareness schemes, whereas speed mentoring is something that relates to the development of the child. Now, that is where I would suggest that you retain your speed mentoring activities to something related to the child. It could be relating to your right to education. It could be relating to prevention of POXO and other activities. So it could be relating to child marriage and child abuse. So these are aspects, which would be much more fruitful if they are carried out under speed mentoring. Yes.
But webinar will not qualify for speed mentoring.
Indeed. It has to be carried out in the school physically, and we will require video recordings of the event being carried out. So please ensure that those video recordings are also made available. The guidelines have clearly provided for the same. Now, with regard to community halt or village halt, let me tell you what the village halt means is that there are certain parameters wherein you will be conducting surveys with the villagers, identifying what their problems is, and trying to address their solutions through means of creating a legal awareness. So a couple of things that could be done here is one or more of these events can be clubbed together. So we are not ensuring that each of this has to happen on a separate day or of any sort. You can have the Jan Sunwai and the village halt clubbed together, wherein you carry on the particular aspects of deliberation with the villagers or any particular people residing in a society where they are required to be made aware of their rights, where they are required to be enlightened about various policies of the government, is something that you can carry on. Can the village halt be conducted before the submission of survey questionnaires? No, I would suggest that you first share the particular questionnaires because the questionnaires give you the particular premise on the basis of which you will identify the problems in the particular locality, and only thereafter you can go ahead with the village halt or the community halt. In case you are requiring to conduct this village halt much earlier, we would suggest that you could also submit it much beforehand with us with the questionnaires and take a particular consent of the submission and then take things forward.
No, there is no consent. September 30th is the last day.
Yes.
Anytime before that, the questionnaires can be submitted and the village hall can take place.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah, Rohit, I think you could also put the Google form in the chat box. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
For that attendance. Yeah. So, any further clarifications, you could always write to us, no problem. But at this point of time, I'm very keen to know the faculty members who are in this conclave today. Can you just put your name in the chat box along with your email ID? Will that be possible, faculty members? Can I request all the faculty members of participating teams to kindly put your name and email ID in the chat box? We can reach out to you for a special request to collaborate with us in the Department of Justice project. That's the reason I'm asking you this. Yeah, with your email ID, please. Name and email ID, please. Name and email ID, please. Yeah, that's better. I think Nitish Kumar did the right thing. Please, thank you so much, faculty members, faculty colleagues. Really, truly appreciate the same. Rohit,
there are a few more questions. I think there's one more question asking whether the...
Hold on. Let's go one by one. Rohit, can we take down these, can this be part of the recording?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay.
So whatever is being mentioned here in the chat box, I think we have a transcript of this.
Okay. Vikas, can I request you to actually make a list of the faculty colleagues who are right now in this conclave?
Sure, sir.
Yeah, along with
yes,
the ID. Yes.
Sure, sir.
And I would like to send a special invitation to all of them. Yeah, the competition is always there, so they're part of the competition. But I just want to invite them to collaborate with us under the Department of Justice project. I'm sure Ashutosh will definitely appreciate the same.
Hello, sir. Good evening. I'm trying to chat my name and email ID. It is going to Rohit, but it is not taking.
Okay, you can send it to Rohit, no problem.
Yeah. But it is not going.
Going through, huh?
Yeah, it is not going.
Okay. Just click on the top everyone where you want to chat.
I am checking that, but it is not taking.
Okay. So what we will do is Rohit will just put his email ID Could you just send it to that, Rohit? Just share
Yes.
his ID in the chat box. Maybe you can send it to that. Yeah. Did you get it, ma'am? Please check the chat box. Rohit has put his email ID. You could send your name and email it to that ID, please.
Yes, sir, I got it. I will send it.
Excellent. Excellent. Rohit, are you sharing the Google Sheet right now?
So it's already put in the chat.
Okay. Please.
I'll just reshare it again.
Yeah, please reshare it.
Participating institutions, on the chat box, you would have received a Google form. So I would request you all to kindly click onto the Google form, log in with your registered email ID, and you will find that there is a drop-down menu which comes about with the name of your institution. Please kindly select your institution's name and give submit so that the attendance can be recorded. Please note, as a particular this is a competition requirement, and in idea of the competitive spirit, attendance is also recorded, and there would be a certain marking criteria for attendance of the activities of each of these institutions. And as such, kindly fill in the Google form so that we can take note of the same accordingly. Thank you.
Are we able to log in? Lian, can you just check the Google Sheet?
Okay, the Google Sheet is required to be filled in by only the faculty in charge or the faculty coordinator or any one particular student representative. Not all student representatives need to fulfill it, because we are recording the participation of the institution only. So that is one of the reasons why we have collected the emails of all the student participants, the student coordinator and the faculty in charge. So there is a query here that is there in the chat box, whether it is to be filled in by all the 8 members. So please note, only one person from the institution is required to fill in the attendance sheet.
Yeah, Rohit, you can start addressing other queries if they have any.
Yes, sir. There is one query which asks about which are the designated areas that you are to take across for village, halt or village adoption schemes. Please note, you are free to choose any surrounding areas of your institution. We are not going to, prescribe any guidelines as to which place you have to select. So we would suggest that you select preferably a rural area wherein you can carry on the particular activities, or a semi-urban locality where you can carry out your outreach activities, so that the spirit of the competition is entered. And there is also a follow-up query on this, that should all the activities be on a similar theme, or can it be chosen independently according to activity? Please note, the guidelines are specific to the competition. So you can choose any alternative theme as well in subsequent thematic areas. Like, say, for instance, under the street play requirement, you are required to submit 2 scripts or enact 2 scripts. Now, these 2 scripts cannot be on the same thematic area. But whereas you can use the same theme for the street play as well as for the Jansunwai, or the same thematic area for the street play as well as the speed mentoring process. There is no limit on using the same theme in subsequent competition. It is the only restriction is put on the same event, which requires at least 2 participation or activities. Can 2 street plays be played in the same designated village? Yes, you can have it done in the same designated village. So ideally, we prefer that you carry it out in a similar locality. But when you are carrying out the street play in one village, we would urge that you have the speed mentoring process in preferably in another locality, so that you are able to reach out to a greater mass. So in the entire stream of or the principles of the outreach that the program envisions. Yes, Dr. Meena, the language that the screenplay has to be submitted is in English. The guidelines have clearly prescribed the same. So you may be enacting the screenplay or the street play in your regional language also. But when you're submitting the scripts, it has to be in English so that it can be evaluated on a par basis. So we would urge that you submit the scripts for the screenplay in English. The guidelines have clearly stipulated the same. Recordings can be in regional or English language, but we would suggest that you meet out the script as much as possible when you're recording it in the regional language. The English transcript that we receive has to be in tandem with your recording as well. Dr. Chinmay, I think we have answered this query. The core team members are to be 8 in number, whereas you can have other legal aid volunteers who will be partaking in the event. They can definitely be a part of the street play or screenplay event, but the same will have to be identified or mentioned across in the annexure to the declaration form, where the other students who assisted or supported the core team members will be included. Anonymous attendee, I think you have raised a query as to whether I can send the guidelines. Please note, I think when you're registering, you must have registered with your registered email ID, and the guidelines have been sent across to that registered email ID. In case you have not received it, if you could just please send me your email ID in the chat box, I will have it done right away. But I think your name is not mentioned here, so I'm not sure who I should be sending it. Ms. Anamika, yes, the scripts have to be submitted in English and the performance can be in regional language.
I think with that, we should call off the curtains for the first conclave on the Professor V.S. Mallar Memorial Legal Aid Competition. We have 2 other conclaves that we have planned. I've already announced the same. It is part of the guidelines that was issued to you and that will be shared with you. Some of you have just registered. I can understand it, but the guidelines will definitely be shared with you as well. And I'm sure there are a lot of queries that you can always ask us by writing to us, and we'll be able to address the same. Not an issue. From time to time, I think we can issue those clarifications whenever you wish to seek those clarifications as well. Let me just answer the last 2 before we go forward. I think, Rohit.
Yes. So the guidelines have clearly answered that the village hall should be for at least a period of 2 days each. So if you look at point 2.2.1, we have mentioned that it has to be for at least 2 days. That is the query with regard to what has been raised by Ms. Shilpa with regard to the village halls. The script should be in a typed form because we will require it in a Word document so that we can have it reviewed accordingly. Yes, sir. So I think I've answered the question.
Yeah, perfect. Friends, I think we won't keep you longer with us, but thank you so much for showing your interest, your enthusiasm in this competition and joining us today. We wish all the teams the very best. But before we wind up for the day and close this session, let me take this opportunity to thank my entire team whose effort has gone in designing this competition. I hope some of you like the design of this competition. It's a very unique one. It's done for the very first time. And the team with Madhubanti, Leanne D'Souza, Rohit Kamath, Anuja, Gayatri, and Vikas Gehlot, who is anchoring this Department of Justice program. I think they have done a fantastic job according to me. I hope you will agree as well. It's been a lot of hard work in making this competition come to this stage, and that hard work, I think, seems to have paid, because we have received a very good response. It's an overwhelming response from all of you. So I indeed thank all the institutions, the institutional heads, the faculty coordinators who are with us today, the students who have shown very keen interest to be part of the legal aid kind of national spirit, if I can put it in that sense. Thank you so much. We hope that this competition will set a new benchmark in legal education, because it's taking education from the classrooms to the grassroots. That's the spirit, I think, with which this competition is to be approached. Let me thank all the panelists, the invitees who joined us today, all my colleagues who are part of this, Vivek, Sachin, Anjali, Dr. Uma Sandhya. Unfortunately, she couldn't probably speak. I'm not sure if she wants to join in. Satya, Dr. Ashutosh as well. Sorry, I used Dr. to Ashutosh. Ashutosh ji, if you have doctorate, or else I'm giving you one for this competition. So all of you, big thank you, and we wish to welcome you back during our second conclave, and we hope to make many more strides and progress in the legal aid venture as we go forward. So let's close for the day, friends, and we hope that this competition will bring in a new era in legal education in India. Thank you very much. Thanks to Gayatri as well, who has also been part of this project. Sorry, Gayatri, I missed calling your name, but thank you, Gayatri, as well. Thank you, one and all. Thanks to the Department of Justice, friends. A big round of applause should go to them. It is their initiative that we are here. CEERA-NLSIU is just a platform facilitating the objectives of the Department of Justice. We are indeed grateful to the Department of Justice for giving us this platform, for giving us this opportunity, and we hope we meet their expectations as we go forward. So all the very best, friends, and thank you for partnering the Department of Justice project, the Disha scheme that is there with us. Thank you, Ashutosh. Thank you. Right, friends, good evening, namaskar. We are looking forward to the August conclave. Till then, namaskar. Bye-bye.
The attendance sheet will be closed now, so we will stop accepting responses. In case you have any difficulties, I will keep it open till 5 so that you can do the need. Thank you. Look forward to seeing you.
We can make a list of the faculty members.
Yes, it's been exported.
Yeah, perfect. We can have an Excel sheet so that my invitation can. Thank you.